Three taxpayer watchdogs, whose groups are famous for unearthing government waste, joined us to talk about Trump's cost-cutting blueprint and pitch their own razor-sharp fixes.
Do you all think that wasteful spending is as big of a problem as Musk claims it is?
It's certainly a problem, Scott.
Steve Ellis is with Taxpayers for Common Sense, a nonprofit known for spotlighting waste with its Golden Fleece Awards, given in 2003 to Republican Congressman Don Young for pushing an infamous $190 million bridge to nowhere. His group contributed to a recent report suggesting Pentagon cuts.
We were hopeful when DOGE started that they were actually going to target and go into major areas of government spending like the Pentagon, but it's been a little bit scattered and not nearly as targeted as we think would take to actually accomplish that $1 trillion goal.
John Hart is with Open the Books, which has exposed billions in wasteful government spending. Its 2016 report revealed that while the EPA claimed to be cash-strapped, it spent $92 million on luxury furniture, including $1,500 ergonomic chairs.
Back in the 1980s, President Reagan put something together called the Grace Commission, and their key finding was that 1 out of every 3 tax dollars is wasted. If you extrapolate that to today's numbers, that's over $2 trillion. So they're only getting about half the way there.
Justin Goodman's group, the White Coat Waste Project, focuses on government-funded animal experimentation and is famous for exposing painful experiments on beagles at taxpayer expense under Dr. Fauci's leadership.
We're excited about the slash and burn approach that they're taking at an agency like HHS that has a nearly $2 trillion budget.
Steve, looking at defense systems, fighter jets, ships, missiles, are there realistic cuts for balanced savings and national security?
You have the F-35, the fighter jet that is only fully operational 30% of the time for all its missions. That's $12 billion a year that you could save by not buying any more of those. You have the Sentinel, which is a replacement for the intercontinental ballistic missile. In 2024, it was 31% over budget. You could get rid of that for $310 billion.
John, President Trump recently signed that executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, citing declining test scores as evidence of its failure. How has the Education Department been spending those tax dollars, if not improving student performance?
Well, they haven't been spending it very well, that's for sure. We found that there's a 14% growth of staff since 2000, but a 749% increase in spending. The question taxpayers are asking is, what value are we getting for our money? Have we seen test scores increase 750%? No, we haven't. We've seen test scores arguably flatline or go down.
Another department that you've put under the microscope is the IRS. But what you're suggesting for cuts sounds a lot more like something that would apply for the Department of Defense, not
Right.
the IRS.
Yes, so this is astonishing. In the past 20 years, we've spent at the IRS almost $35 million on military-style equipment, body armor, ballistic shields, submachine guns. I mean, there may be legitimate reasons, but we have other agencies, even better local police departments. It makes no sense to be spending $35 million creating a paramilitary division within the IRS.
Let's talk about Medicare and Medicaid, because both are often targeted for cost reductions in federal spending. Is there one simple thing that could be done to cut down on those massive expenses?
There's a dispute within Medicare where we pay more to code something as an outpatient visit when it's really an inpatient visit. So just by simply doing better administration of the program in a way that has zero impact on wellness and patient outcomes, we could save $140 billion.
Justin, the White Coat Waste Project looks into federal spending on animal experiments. One of the more egregious examples is the tens of millions of dollars in taxpayer grants that funded the Wuhan lab in China.
What happened in Wuhan is Exhibit A, right? So Dr. Fauci and USAID were actually secretively funneling tax dollars through different nonprofits and colleges and universities to Wuhan with very little paper trail to conduct dangerous experiments. Even after what happened in Wuhan, we still have over 20 laboratories in China that are still eligible to receive funding from the NIH.
And while the government continues to fund risky international research, here at home, there is growing scrutiny over how taxpayer dollars are being spent. Since March, DOGE has cut funding to 10 animal experiments that have already tapped into some $8 million in taxpayer money. Had they been allowed to continue, it would have cost $9.3 million more.
We have to be looking at what the return on investment for taxpayers is. Every dollar wasted is a dollar less for Medicare or other important programs that actually protect and improve people's health.
Some critics say it's the system itself that encourages this waste, an environment where agencies feel compelled to spend every last dollar to prove they need it and will again the next year.
Every federal agency at the last quarter and the last month throws billions and billions of dollars out the door. Because of the way the budget rules work, if they don't empty their account, their coffers, they're worried they're going to get their spending cut. So what we see is this perverse kind of like throwing money out at things like lobster tail at the Pentagon, $20 million, ribeye steaks, $200 million on furniture just at the Pentagon. Great nations don't stay great very long when they do that.
For Full Measure, Scott Thuman, Washington, D.C.